Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR, and today we're going to look at several top tier recruits in the 2026 class and even a sleeper recruit to look at and what Big Ten teams are trending for them right now. These players are in intense recruiting battles right now with Big Ten programs, and they are making serious moves to try and land these players. And I'm here to break down who's leading the charge, give my thoughts on the players overall, who's trending, who's visiting, and what you can expect moving forward for these players. But before we get into it, though, please like and subscribe. These recruiting videos do take a lot of time and a lot of work to put together, and I hope you find them useful, even if your team is not mentioned, somebody that you know or think of might be mentioned. So help me help you by liking, subscribing, and even commenting your thoughts on the video as well. All right, but before we get into this one more thing. Unless I say otherwise, any rankings I reference in this video are from the 24/7 composite rankings. They are the ones I've always used, and I want to remain consistent for you. So it's not like I'm like endorsing those and saying they're the best ever. I'm just trying to use them to be consistent. All right, so let's start with the number one player in the class, top tier player, and I'm going to put him up here next to me, Jackson Cantwell. All right. The five-star offensive tackle from Missouri is the crown jewel of the recruiting class. He recently was named. He recently named his top six schools, and three Big Ten powerhouses, Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon, made the cut. Michigan is flexing its NIL strength and strong offensive line development, while Ohio State is pitching its championship pedigree and elite offensive system that he can play in. And Cantwell remains undecided. Oregon, so much for them to pitch. Two-time Joe Moore Award finalist, a top NIL program out there. There's a lot for them to pitch. It's pretty tricky to know exactly where this one is going, as he has played three things. He's played things very close to the vest on this one. I think Big Ten teams have a good shot here, as he is not in the deep South, but Missouri has done a good job with locking down the state of Missouri, so it's going to take a lot to get him out of there. His official visits in the spring will be crucial in his decision-making process, and he has said he wants to decide by the beginning of his senior year. Now let's talk about the third ranked player in the country, another elite offensive tackle prospect in the country, who I personally kind of like a little bit more than Jackson Cantwell. Not trying to throw shade, I just really like Emmanuel Iheanacho. He is from Georgetown Prep in Maryland. Iheanacho is it has a strong top group with Oregon, Penn State, and Maryland representing the Big Ten. Penn State's track record and development of offensive linemen speaks for itself. It's kept them in the mix, and they have done a good job historically recruiting the state of Maryland. All I can really say for Maryland, they're selling here the kind of hometown hero angle and aspect. I'm not really sure if this visit is anything more than charity at this point for the hometown team. I could be wrong on that, but that's just kind of the way it seems to me. He plans to take 6 official visits, but I would not be surprised if I saw Ohio State possibly get themselves in there. Their new offensive line coach, Tyler Bowen, has many connections in Maryland and has helped him recruit the state very well. He is still new to Ohio State, that being Tyler Bowen, and they are in a very good in-state offensive line recruiting class right now. They're not those players in their class yet, but they're in the state of Ohio to go after. So it would also not surprise me if they don't get involved. Ultimately, I do really like Oregon here. Unless something drastic changes, I really think that this kid is going to be a duck. Moving to the defensive side, we have the nation's number 4 prospect, Zion Ely, a dominant edge rusher out of St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland, another Maryland recruit. Ely is already committed to Maryland, which is huge for them in the Terps program, but you also have programs like Auburn, Ohio State, and Penn State that aren't giving up on him. And Auburn recently hired Wayne Dorsey, Ely's former coach at St. Francis, which could make things really interesting in this one. While Ely says he's locked into Maryland in his official, he says he's locked into Maryland He's not changing anything. His official visits will tell us if that commitment holds. My guess is the commitment won't hold. He has too many high dollar NIL programs here. I think Texas A&M might get a visit as well, and I think this commitment is just kind of one of those ways to possibly get more NIL money. Now I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I think Ely will most likely head elsewhere other than Maryland. Quarterback play is always key, and one name to watch is four-star Jonas Williams from Lincoln Way East in Illinois. He's the number one player in the state of Illinois and a top 100 player overall. I think he's 88th right now, if I'm not mistaken. He's currently committed to Oregon, but USC, Ole Miss, and LSU are turning up the heat in this one. With official visits coming, his recruitment is far from over, in my opinion, and USC has been known to make QBs flip late in the past, so that's one to watch. And LSU finished second in his recruitment before, so this is one that could get interesting and one that we're definitely going to want to keep an eye on to see if it sticks with Oregon. Next is a big one, Chris, and it could get interesting as Chris Henry Jr. is a five-star wide receiver and the fifth best player in the 2026 class out of modern day in California. Henry is committed to Ohio State as of last summer, but Oregon has made a really strong impression after a recent visit. He still says he's locked in with the Buckeyes, no worries there, but his relationship with Oregon's coaching staff has got him thinking, and they seem to be pressing all the right buttons. Oregon's pitch is pretty simple and, in my opinion, very good. It's essentially what they said to Carnell Tate, or what we believe they said to Carnell Tate. Why play in Jeremiah Smith's shadow, right? You can go there and be unknown as a freshman because everyone will pay attention to Smith, or you can come to Oregon and play right away. Evan Stewart's going to leave, and a freshman year, and he could have a freshman year. Again, they're telling him this that rivals what Jeremiah Smith did. This pitch didn't seem to work for Carnell Tate. Maybe it was because he was a little bit further along in his career, but will it work for Henry? This will be another recruitment to monitor, especially considering that the news that Oregon wide receiver coach Junior Adams is off to the NFL. He was a key recruiter for Oregon, and the Ducks will need to find another great one soon as spring ball is quickly approaching. We'll see if the Ducks can get it done. Albert Hill is the number one cornerback in Akron, Ohio, or in the country out of Akron, Ohio. Albert Hill is a major target for Big Ten programs. Michigan and Ohio State have been in the mix for a while, along with Oregon and USC, and even SEC program Alabama is in there too. The Wolverines have been pushing hard, very, very hard for Albert Hill, but the Buckeyes have a strong connection with him as well. His official visits will better show us where he's leaning, but still, I can't imagine that the cornerback coach in Tim Walton for Ohio State will lose out on another top tier cornerback from Ohio, as Victor Singleton did commit to Illinois, I believe it was last week or the week before, but Michigan's coach Lamar Morgan is doing a great job in this recruitment as well. So we will see where this one ends up. I think it's going to be a battle down the stretch between Ohio State and Michigan. Oregon and USC could definitely find themselves in there too, but it really seems like one that's going to go between those two top tier programs in the Big Ten. Player to watch is CJ Sadler from Detroit's Cass Tech, ranked 84th overall. He's a dynamic athlete who could play on both sides of the ball. Very intriguing for a team like Michigan, who seems to be leading the recruitment right now, but Penn State, Oregon, and Illinois are up there too. I think even UCLA was going after him at one point. Not sure they're still involved, but he's also receiving interest from Auburn, and even Deion Sanders' Colorado Buffaloes are trying to make a move as they are pitching that he could be the next Travis Hunter for him. Sadler plans to take official visits before making a final decision this summer. This seems like it could be a Michigan versus Colorado battle, if you ask me, but we'll need to see exactly what visits he takes and hear how those go before we really know anything definite here. Dave, let's not forget about the defensive front, as David Schwartzel of O'Day High School in Seattle is an intriguing defensive lineman with interest from Washington and UCLA, who have visits set right now. Stanford and Cal are also in play here as they have visits set, and then Michigan State is working hard to get in there as well. Schwartzel, I apologize if I'm saying the name wrong, is keeping an open mind about his future. There seems to be a special connection there with the UCLA head coach, Deshaun Foster, which could impact things, but we'll need to see what happens with his visits before we really start digging into this one. One last name to highlight, and it is my sleeper pick, is Brody Schaefer, an athlete from Wisconsin. He's not rated yet, but he's got interest from several Big Ten programs, including Iowa, Wisconsin, and Northwestern. This seems to be like one of those kids that could just be one of those that could go to those one of those Big Ten schools that turns into a star that nobody has heard of nationally. He plays quarterback and DB for his high school team, but I've put on his DB tape over here, as I do think he's probably either going to be a DB or most likely a wide receiver when he gets to the college game. He just doesn't seem to have the arm to play quarterback, but that's perfectly fine. This kid is super talented. He's been playing mostly wide receiver and 6-on-6 in camps. He's also been playing some DB as well, but Schaefer is still early in his recruiting process. But the Hawkeyes and Badgers are very, very strong contenders in this one. I would not be surprised at all if he turns into one of those risers in the rankings here soon, and really turns into something special that a lot of people are talking about down the road. Well, there you have it, folks. Michigan and Ohio State are battling for top talent. Penn State is in the hunt for multiple key prospects. Maryland's trying to lock in their homegrown stars. Meanwhile, programs like Iowa, Wisconsin, and Northwestern getting those sleepers that the Big Ten is always known for getting and developing, looking to land some key pieces for their teams. As official visits get scheduled and summer commitments start rolling in, expect plenty of surprises. We'll keep you updated on all the latest moves. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and please do comment if you have any players that you would like for me to talk about, if you would like for me to watch their film and really bring to you guys here and maybe look into a little bit deeper. The Big Ten's a huge conference. There's a lot of teams, a lot of different players people are going after. So you guys just let me know. I'm not going to be one of those like big film breakdown guys that breaks down everything about a player, but I will talk about the player and then ultimately give my take on where it looks like they may or may not go. So please do like and subscribe, comment with any players you want me to look at. And I just appreciate the time, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.